Finally, let's move on to some relevant legislation. This is the legislation relevant to safeguarding in the UK. You may have different legislation in your own jurisdiction, but in the UK we have these acts and these guidance documents. Firstly, we have the Sexual Offences Act 2003, which introduced a number of new offences concerning adults at risk and children. The Mental Capacity Act 2005 has the general principle that everyone has capacity to make decisions unless it is proved otherwise, and that they should be supported to make their own decisions, that anything done for and on behalf of people without capacity must be in their best interests and should be the least restrictive intervention. The Safeguarding Vulnerable Groups Act 2006 introduced the vetting and barring scheme, which we'll comment on later, and it also introduced the role of the Independent Safeguarding Authority. The Act places a statutory duty on all those working with vulnerable groups to register and undergo an advanced vetting process with criminal sanctions for non-compliance. The Deprivation of Liberty safeguards were introduced in the Mental Capacity Act of 2005 and came into force in April 2009. They're designed to provide appropriate safeguards for vulnerable people who have a mental disorder and lack the capacity to consent to the arrangements made or their care or treatment, and who may be deprived of their liberty in their best interests in order to protect them from harm. The Disclosure and Barring Service of 2013 is criminal record checks, and it provides guidance for employers. How employers or organisations can request criminal record checks on potential employees from the Disclosure and Barring Service, known as DBS. Next, we have the Care Act 2014. We just saw there the 6 principles from the Care Act. And this Act introduces new responsibilities for local authorities, and it has major implications for adult care and for support providers, people who use the services, carers, and advocates. It puts adult safeguarding on a statutory footing. And finally, we have Making Safeguarding Personal Guide 2014, which is intended to support councils and their partners to develop outcome-focused, person-centred safeguarding practice. And I've attached a copy of that guide to this course to the last lecture.